I now call the honourable member for Bradfield.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. Mr Deputy Speaker, recently the government announced the creation of the Clean Energy Finance Corporation, but there's a certain inconsistency in the successive announcements as to what it's actually going to do. On the 10th of July, we were told that it would, quote, invest $10 billion in businesses seeking funds to get innovative clean energy proposals and technologies off the ground. On the 18th of August, in a media release from the Minister for Industry, we were told it would, quote, drive innovation through commercial investments in clean energy, through loans, loan guarantees and equity investments. And then on the 12th of October, in a media release from the Treasurer, we were told it would, quote, overcome capital market barriers that hinder the financing, commercialisation and deployment of renewable energy, energy efficiency and low emissions technologies. Mr Deputy Speaker, this lack of clarity as to what the $10 billion Clean Energy Finance Corporation is going to do should set alarm bells ringing, and so should the dismal record of these kinds of government-directed funds investing in politically favoured areas of industry. Indeed, Mr Deputy Speaker, when President Obama comes to Australia next month, the Prime Minister and her ministers might like to ask him about Solyndra, a US company which received a $535 million loan guarantee in 2009 to finance a new photovoltaic solar panel manufacturing facility. When President Obama spoke at the plant in May 2009, he said it would create 1,000 jobs. Vice President Joe Biden said, quotes, these jobs are the ones that are going to define the 21st century, that will allow America to compete and lead like we did in the 20th century. Close quotes. Rhetoric, Mr Deputy Speaker, you would agree, surprisingly similar to that which we have heard repeatedly from the Prime Minister and her ministers. How did the story turn out, Mr Deputy Speaker? I'm sorry to say that about 6 months after these soaring speeches, Solyndra postponed its expansion and US taxpayers ended up on the hook to the tune of $390.5 million, 75% of the loan guarantee. The 1,000 workers never got hired and the company has filed for bankruptcy. Mr Deputy Speaker, an object lesson in the perils of politically directed investment. There are some serious warning signals in the materials this government has put out. We were told in the 12th October press release that it's not the intention to directly compete with the private sector, rather, quotes, to act as a catalyst to private investment which is currently not available, close quotes. There may well, Mr Deputy Speaker, be a very good reason why the private investment is currently not available, because private investors have looked at the investments on offer and realise there's a very serious risk of losing their money. Unfortunately, this government doesn't seem at all troubled by the prospect of losing taxpayers' money if they can get a political win. There are some very disturbing reminders in what we're seeing here, Mr Deputy Speaker, of the same sad story of the National Broadband Network, which you would recollect was announced without any of the details having been sorted out. And what they then needed to do was to hire private sector consultants to develop an implementation plan. Well, it turns out that with the Clean Energy Finance Corporation, this government's up to the same thing, because if you look at the press release of the 12th of October, you learn that one of the things that they're presently working on is an implementation plan. The reality is, Mr Deputy Speaker, that this government seems to think that it's not real money anyway. They've got a fabulous accounting trick to keep the $10 billion off the budget bottom line. Earlier this month, Finance Minister Wong put out a media release in which she quoted the words of one Department of Finance official at Senate Estimates who'd said, quotes, to the extent to which the Clean Energy Finance Corporation is undertaking investments, and that's the government's policy, then the majority of its activities will not impact on the budget bottom line. By budget bottom line, Mr Deputy Speaker, he meant the underlying cash balance. The headline number normally quoted, for example, the Treasurer, when he promises a $3.5 billion surplus next year, is referring to the underlying cash balance. Now, Mr Deputy Speaker, there are two possible explanations for what's going on here. One is that this accounting treatment is well justified, because the $10 billion to be spent on the corporation is investment monies designed to secure a financial return, which is the relevant accounting test. Of course, another explanation, and I'd suggest the better one, Mr Deputy Speaker, is that the government was forced to agree to this by the Greens. It hasn't got the money to spend. It's bodged up the accounting treatment so as to hide the true impact of this on the budget bottom line, and the Clean Energy Finance Corporation shows every sign of being a substantial waste of taxpayers' money, and because they know that, They are desperate to try and keep its true impact off the budget. All Australian taxpayers should be very concerned.
The honourable member's
Mr.
time
Deputy
has
Speaker.
expired.